Okay, I built this automation that analyzes hundreds of hours of podcast interviews on YouTube, looks up all recent data for a podcast guest that you have incoming. You get a complete research dossier on the guest, their best topics, engagement data, what questions to avoid because they've been addressed to no end, untapped angles no one else has explored, a full Notion database of the last 10, it can be more if you want to increase it, but 10 YouTube interviews they've done, sentiment, and all of that within the YouTube video, which we'll go through. So I'm going to walk through this system, show you how it works, how it scrapes the YouTube data, analyzes transcripts, delivers actionable reports that look good and have a lot of very, very specific information. So I'm going to start off now. So it's a self-contained system. I have it all in Notion. It starts with a form. I have it all filled out. Obviously pretty self-explanatory fields. We're going to act like it's Joe Rogan podcast, and then it's going to go to my email so I get the report. So that runs, and it triggers the automation that goes off of this Notion trigger. And then it's going to go through a few flows. So guest research. Within the guest research, what that's doing is it is going to research both history and content. So certain things that they just went through, different interviews, if they've written anything like that. And then also just like general achievements, large achievements that they've had. And these are Gumloop specific research nodes. I find that they're very in-depth. They take a little while to run, but again, you can just, put in your information, click send, and then just wait, so you don't have to be waiting on it. But this automation will take about 15 minutes to run because these nodes take a while. And then this is, recent news and media. So we go through, I don't need to go through all the formatting, but we format this all so we can process it going through the automation. We want to keep the citations, that's one thing important, separate so that we can include them for reference in the reports later, because those all be important. So this all gets formatted and output, and then from there we're going to go into the engagement data. That's going to be the next one to run. So this is just all based on YouTube. So this is going to be for guests that have a lot of YouTube content out there. So usually that's people that have done a lot of interviews, so bigger personalities, I guess. It's not going to be for somebody like me who probably doesn't have as large of a profile out there. So when this goes through the YouTube, it's going to get the transcripts. It's going to get data. And by data, I mean like views, likes, title, comments, all of that engagement data. And again, I have it filtered for 10 videos and then within the last 2 years, and sort by views. So this can be sorted by anything. You can do last 2 years, you can do last week, last month. You could do older videos if you wanted to filter it like that, like older than 2 years, however you want. But yeah, so that's how I have it in there. So once we go through that, it's going to extract all of the data from the transcripts that we need. So core messaging, storytelling elements, expertise, depth markers, and I have descriptions in here for all of these: conversation style, untapped angles, something that we haven't seen before. And then we're going to also extract the specific data again that I went through earlier. So once that's done, we're going to go in here. We're going to write it to, or we're not, it's going to do this automatically, write it to the databases. I have it both writing to a Google Sheets and a Notion database. I'm going to be going through the Notion database right now. So here you can see this is what gets written to it. So for 10 videos, you have the title, the summary, URL if you need it, quotes, so specific quotes it takes out of the text, comments, likes, views, so you know where like good engagement's coming from, different things that they've talked about, untapped angles, and then interviewer style, like the dynamics of it. So give that a little information. And to go more in depth, if you want it, then within here, the entire transcript is written to the page. So from that YouTube video, you have the extracted stuff, but you also have the transcript in there. Yeah, so that all runs. And we'll go back to the automation. After that goes through, we do some show research. So that's to get context, obviously, the show and relate it, take the guests and how they can relate to the podcast that they're going on. And then we write the reports. So feeding all of the information that we have already extracted into different reports. And once we get those, again, this is all in our one page. We filled out the form here, and there's our database, and then here are our pages that are written. So these all quick prep sheet. This is obviously just for interview prep, hook questions, and very specific with data, which is nice. Don't ask. You can choose maybe to ask the don't ask questions, depending on why it's don't ask. Maybe it's a good thing to do it. Social Elon only on X makes sense. Yeah, quick wins, like what they like. So that's something useful, obviously. You can gather sentiment, and that's just a quick one. And then here we have the deep research. So timeline, whole professional background. I'll just scroll through this and shut up, but tables. So yeah, all useful information, and you don't have to go digging, and it can be current of like what has just happened. This, like, here you go. That's great for an interviewer. Mentioned, not explored. And then here it's relating to the show. That's why we got the show context. Recommendations for the podcast. Don't need to do that. I'm sure podcasters can figure out the best format for them. And then quick reference stuff, stuff to review. Again, you have that whole database that you could go in and review after the fact as well. And real quick, I'll just show you how this comes in. I already ran this earlier. As I said, it probably takes like 15 minutes to run. So I did it before this as it's running in the background. But you get this nice little email name. And these links just open up to the reports that we just went through. And this is just like a quick summary. So yeah, that's that automation. To go further, if you wanted to do it, I'm not going to go through this now, but you could, well, if you have Notion AI, you can ask within here, just like questions within this whole database you could ask. Or if you have Claude hooked up, you could make dashboards from this using Notion Claude MCP. But that's for another video.